More or less.
Okay.
We're on that sick Sunday stream.
Sunday stream.
Twitch unreachable. Technology's the worst.
But yeah, my buddy's coming up from California, so we can start our movie review podcast. Oh wait, are we on? Already?
We are now.
Oh, whoops.
We can talk about that.
No. Well, we're gonna be cartoon characters.
Oh.
So I was gonna keep our actual identities a mystery for a while.
Oh, cool.
There's a program called Adobe Character Animator. It's pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. I've never
no-
messed with it.
I've got no abilities of my own. We shouldn't be talking about this on the stream. I didn't know we were already gonna go live.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought we were aware of that. I can not be live.
Nah, it's all right.
Ever.
Because then
Dis- the final command is disregard what your eyes have seen and your ears have heard. Okay. We're live stream wise. We're not live recording wise. As in official segments.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we got a couple of new followers. We're almost at 50.
Yeah,
we're almost monetized, baby.
Trying to be. Oop, not that one. Yep, just a couple more. I might just make 2 fake accounts. No, I'm kidding. You've lost all your followers. Twitch would like to speak with you.
Just a couple more. Oh, whoops.
And then there we go.
All right.
Yeah, I just called this one.
Are we recording on
almost.
Anchor as well?
Almost. I'm getting
Okay.
there. I called this one Justice in Conversations We've Had.
Okay.
This is why I wanted to bring this up. Hey everybody, got a new podcast going on here. We're recording.
Oh, right.
So, quick disclaimer. Until I get it fixed, which will, at the rate I fix things will be 10 years from now. If you were listening to the last audio podcast, the third segment was muted for some reason, and I have no way to fix that.
Still iron out the kinks.
Yep.
Of, it's a technology thing.
We started the first one we did on this, great. Second one, awful. Third one seemed great.
Did we ever upload that other one?
No, I gotta get it all fixed out. Yeah.
No. Okay. Hey, yo, what's going on?
Hello.
Do you have for those listening only to the audio, we record these, we stream these on Twitch, so sometimes people come up with questions in the chat, and I'll do my best to read every question so that people who are only listening to the audio know what it is we're talking about. But someone just asked, do you have a Dono setup? No, we do not.
No, not yet. Someday in the near future, we probably will, but for now, we're just trying to get a community established and
I don't know what a Dono setup
donations.
is. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I had no idea anyone would even be interested.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool to have somebody ask.
Yeah.
It's very neat.
Okay, I thought a Dono setup was going to be like some sort of like
a
mic setup,
like the technology.
Yeah, because that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, we have.
I didn't realize
everything
hip
we're on.
lingo.
Everything we're on is Dono. No, the mics were donated. I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, that's cool.
If you're interested, yeah, I definitely would appreciate it.
All
'Cause
right.
we've so far been deep in the red as far as what we've been invested into the stream versus what we've gotten out of it.
Turns out it costs money to produce. No, we're just trying to build a community. It's been fun so far. Good conversations and what have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Did you want to actually get into the content of what it is we're discussing today? Because I'm not sure what it is.
I don't even know what it is. And I said we should record today.
Yeah. Well, you said that you had some things. So.
Somebody's grand idea was to do this project. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, quick disclaimer. Like I said, if you were listening to the third segment, I do intend to eventually get that up and fixed.
In the meantime, you can watch it all.
Yeah,
on
you
YouTube.
can see them all on YouTube. They are all there with sometimes a little bit of extra content because you catch our in between conversations.
But so what do we got? What we got going on today, baby?
So the big one. I had a hilarious conversation the other day.
Okay.
And it was with a guy, and I can't even remember 100% how we got onto the conversation, but it got minorly political, and I had mentioned, I ended my conversation half jokingly, half serious, # defund the police.
Sure.
And he said, "Oh, now I know we will disagree on politics. And I was like, you think so? And he's like, I go, I bet you just don't know what that means, because most people have the same knee-jerk reaction to that phrase is, oh, you know, who are you going to call when the police, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We don't have to get into that. And the answer to that is an ambulance. So, funny meme I shared to my friend. I'll show it to you later. So, anyways, he said, I disagree with that. And I said, well, let's go ahead. You know, you've hooked me. Let's go ahead and get into this. I want to talk about it. And he goes, so I don't believe in defunding the police because I don't think that's the answer. And I said, okay, go on. And he says, well, the Bible says that the government and the police are the sword for justice. And then I go, okay, I can't let this one go. So he hooked me in. And then we did this back and forth. And I was like, well, don't you realize that Jesus was the original progressive in that belief structure? And he goes, well, I don't think so either. And I go, have you read your book?
Yeah. Jesus was also an unarmed man murdered by the state.
So we had this deep back and forth, and just that line he used, like it hooked me in, and it reignited a passion in me that I haven't felt in a long time when I was a young smug a-hole, and wanted to debate religion to everybody.
Sure.
And but we're not going to do that today. But it was funny the way that they brought that up, and then they went on to say, you know, I don't believe any justice is worth anything without the word behind it. And I was like, what? Just what? And then I was like, so you're saying like even if we created heaven on earth, which is a phrase I've used before, that it wouldn't be right? And I was like, I don't follow that.
Well, it's more of just like, I would just say that you can't allow scripture to dictate policy, period. Like, I don't care like how much you justify anything through the Bible. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, well, that was my thought too. I was like, how could you just disregard what's right for humanity under that guise? Like, it's not worth your time just because this arbitrary thing doesn't coincide with it, even though it does if you read the book.
Yeah.
And then we had this big back and forth, and then it ended up, the conversation had to be cut short because, much like many conversations I have, I was working and I had to go because that's how I choose to use my time.
So what's the passion that it reignited in you?
So
just your edgy atheist?
Yeah, just the edgy
dude,
high school teen.
I used to make YouTube videos back in like the new atheist boom. I was probably
like Dawkins and all that.
Dawkins, the Four Horsemen, Hitchens, Harris, and then the bearded guy that nobody knows. But I used to.
Right.
Yeah, there's four of them.
Yeah,
nobody knows who the fourth one is. But yeah, I used to make response videos to Christian YouTubers, and I got a pretty decent following actually at the time, and I was only like 14, 15. But
see, I used to do it all the time because, you know, living in the deepest of red states, these conversations would have to come up all the time, and I was just, my mind was blown because I haven't encountered that overt, I don't even
theocracy.
know. Yeah, like I haven't seen that authoritarian theocracy in so long. And then we did get a little bit into the conversation. They're like, well, what do you believe? And I was like, oh, I'm glad you asked. And I said, I think that all gods exist and that they are born from people's wishes. And yes, I stole that from Noragami.
Yeah, I believe in thousands of gods.
And then I said, and then he's like, well, there is none but the one. And I said, nuh-uh, you should read your book more. It's in your 10 Commandments.
The book is not, because, you know, Moses fought against like the Egyptians and their gods. Remember?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like
they made a movie about it. Joseph, King of Dreams.
I was actually going to say Prince of Egypt. But,
that's what I meant, Prince of Egypt. The one with the cool songs, the musical.
Yeah. This was my home.
Yeah.
All this pain and devastation. How it tortures me inside.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to
I know.
ask.
I know all of them. I used to babysit my brother's my friend's little brother, and his family was super religious, and that was the only movie that he was allowed to watch. So me and him just watched. I mean, it's a good one. Like you could pick worse, but yeah, me and him would watch Prince of Egypt just all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's not a bad movie.
The songs they're
the
all
songs
bangers,
are pretty
dude.
solid. The wife knows. She loves all those songs.
Yeah.
The one I remember the most is when they're like chanting the Egyptian gods' names, like Sekhmet, Osiris.
Yeah, they're all pretty good. But like those guys were able to do things too. Like they manifested snakes and stuff. Like they did some crazy shit. There are other gods in the Bible. It's just that God is the strongest of them.
Mm-hmm. And then I said, I just feel that it's moderately ridiculous that you could be the most nicest, good, meaning person in the world and end up in hell. And then he's like, well, then he went into a long-winded explanation of why that's not the case and blah, blah, blah. And I said, look, here's what's going to happen. When I die, I plan on going to Valhalla and spending an eternity with Odin drinking beer and mead.
See, when I die, I will return to the place that I was at before I was born, which is non-existence. That was a Mark Twain quote that I paraphrased probably.
There was a thought problem. It's not really a thought problem. It's more like a thought statement, but it was like, it goes basically, the human mind is unable to comprehend nothingness. Like,
it's also unable to comprehend infinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I got infinity right here. No, in these wrong
guns.
camera.
But
and it was just a hilarious thing because I was just like, is this happening right now? Because I would love to continue.
Yeah.
But I was at work, and like I said, I had to get flying and doing what I do on the job. But
yeah,
it was just fun. And it just, like I said, it reignited because I haven't done any of that edgy shit in a while, and I miss it. I've often said, like, I wish I could be as outspoken as I was 20 years ago.
I don't care anymore.
That's it. It's not
That's mostly like, I don't know. When I was young and like 14, it was like discovering something that like nobody else knew, so you were just smarter than everybody. Or maybe, so I was just like, there's no God. You guys are all fucking idiots.
Or maybe it's just like that dip into like some deep-seated nostalgia that I haven't felt, because like with the internet and like the availability of all things classic anymore, it's easy to find those things that you used to do, but that's one that, like, unless the situation arises, you don't get to do it. And then it just like reminded me, like, oh yeah, I used to be that guy.
Yeah, I don't really care what someone's like religious preferences are anymore.
Yeah, generally I don't either.
Like,
I have better things to worry about. But it just, like I said, it's one of those things. Like I remember those days now.
Your religion is what you already bring into it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's got so many like contradictions in it that it really just depends on your personal like morality, and then you apply that to your religion. So like if you're kind of a dick, then like the stuff you're gonna pull from the Bible is all of like the fire and brimstone kind of shit. But if you're like a good guy and you read the Bible, then you identify with more of like the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus, love your enemy kind of shit.
Yeah, see, if it's a tool, I always think of it as a tool. If that's the tool you need to use to help bring your soul, spirit, being to peace,
get some fucking meaning in this shitty world sometimes.
There has to be, because in this sea of infinite randomness, we are nothing. I wrote this because it's part of a thing I'm writing. We are nothing but shadows of eternity dancing in the flame of infinity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Nailed it, buddy. But
I just said something so profound for a podcast 14 people are going to hear.
Yeah. Oh, is that what we're up to now?
Something like
generally?
that. 10 plus. Yeah. I don't
Neat.
care. Hey, progress, man. Every step matters.
All it takes is some consistency. You will build an audience, man. There's a market out there for everything. There are pet psychics out there, man. Like we can, if there's a market for that, there's a market for anything.
That phrase hurt me physically. Pet psychics.
Yeah, 'cause it's already like psychics are already bullshit. Now you're like introducing.
Readers. I feel like, what is that Family Guy bit where they're like, he's like, I can send somebody. Their name starts with the A. No. B, C, D, E, F, G, H, H, I, J, K. Yeah. K. It's Karen. No.
Yeah, that's the
the
cold reading.
Yeah, the cold read.
Yeah, you just say like Yeah, it's so easy. Like it's not even like a difficult thing to do because you just go like, I feel a pain in the chest. Like maybe somebody was having, some pain in this region.
Sometimes.
Some sort of complication. And that could be anything. That could be a heart attack. It could be like someone couldn't breathe. It could be, asthma. It could be like anything. So you're just...
It could be... Yeah.
It could be that they're dead and they're just not breathing because they're dead.
Do you ever have, this is just a random thought, do you ever have those like chest pains that like, there's a term for them where they feel like you're having a heart attack, but they're
Angina?
not? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do you ever have those?
No.
Oh, I do sometimes. I'll be driving down the road and I'll be like, "Oh God, I'm dying."
If I'm on drugs sometimes, where you're just like in bed and it's like, and you're just like, "Oh fuck, dude! Like, is this it?"
That's why, yeah. This is how I go.
This is how I go. But then you're just like, "I'm gonna ride it out. I couldn't afford to call an ambulance right now."
Yeah.
So we're just gonna roll the dice, see what happens.
Here's an interesting one talking about dying. Have you watched the Midnight Gospel?
No.
I feel like it'd be right up your alley.
What is it on?
It's do you know Duncan Trussell, right?
No.
Review podcast coming soon.
Okay.
No, Duncan Trussell he's a comedian, I think, and he does some podcast work, but he's kind of into that like new agey, spiritual, psychedelics, meaning in life, and all that jazz. And so he recorded a bunch of conversations with people about various subjects, death, rebirth, blah blah blah, and they animated it. Which is impressive in its own right because they made a background story to nothing that's happening on screen. But they had one episode where they're talking about death and how like the funeral industry became a thing post Civil War.
Yeah, and
it was just really interesting to me to see that because like they kind of talk about how the family, like prior to the Civil War, like the families had access to the bodies, and you would, have your time to cope and grieve and blah blah blah, and then you would conduct the burial yourselves. Outside of the fact that most people weren't probably landowners back then, but whatever. And then they talk about how like post Civil War, like these embalmers who would embalm the dead bodies to send them home were like, oh, we're not going to have a job after this is all over.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh no, it's not normal to sit with the body. You got to give it to us. And from there, the funeral industry became a thing.
Yeah, I wish I could just get chucked in the woods somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need a plot. I don't need a gravestone. Like, just, like, let my body decompose.
I want to be buried vertically, not horizontally.
Okay. You still want to be, like, 6 feet under? Or, like, how do you want to do it? Where, like, your head is only, like, a foot below the ground. Like, a kid just digging a hole could find you.
just like a stick in the ground, just
someone's like putting up a fence. And
like,
something's hard here. They dig it out and it's your skull.
I will become Atlas holding up the ground. I want to be buried like this.
So you look like Oh man, I don't know. I that's not legal to just get thrown in the woods.
No,
but
it's
like,
not.
yeah, why not though?
Yeah. Well, have you ever thought
that's
of
the way?
like,
That's the way everything dies,
like
except for human beings. That's the way everything dies.
That's exactly it. And then you're buried in a casket. But then thinking about just like a raw components, I've always kind of thought about this too. This is kind of some deep thought stuff here. Like all the resources and molecules and elements that are created through you and are you. Mm-hmm. I feel like when you're buried in like a casket, like that stuff doesn't become returned.
Eventually, like even coffins will decay at some point, you know. But that's like it's certainly delaying it.
Yeah. Just some random thoughts.
Yeah, but then there's also just like there is a finite amount of space in this earth. You know, like we just keep.
Well, like I've always like wondered how like the hurricane prone and flooding areas, how they compensate by burying above ground. They use the mausoleums and all that jazz.
Yeah, but like there's billions of people. Like eventually we're gonna run out of fucking grave space.
Yeah.
Unless we just have like massive skyscrapers of mausoleums.
Oh, be like in Pokemon the Death Tower, whatever they call it, that Ghost Tower.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just don't really. I don't know. I don't have that like hubris of myself that I think that I'm like deserving of any sort of like memorial. Like what if like I didn't really do anything.
Yeah,
I
well,
lived
not
and I
exactly.
died, and then the world's gonna forget me as if I'd never been here at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's all just symbols, rituals. It's all made up. Private property is made up.
Perfect segue.
Yeah, is that
No.
what we're discussing?
No.
I don't know. That's
Um,
that's something where I lose a lot of people in my like radical beliefs. But yeah, like private property's made up. It's not real.
That's where
Like-
I think I might somewhat break away.
But it's like, I don't know. It's just, especially like you consider like America, like it's just land that existed for thousands of years, tens of
Did you-
thousands of
did
years
you know-
through human history, hundreds of thousands of years, billions of years of the earth
Okay.
existing, of it not being owned, and then you just force the indigenous people off of it, throw up a fence, and you're like, yeah, this is mine now. And now it's mine in perpetuity, forever. My kids will have it. Like,
you know, do you know the
it's,
song?
it's nonsense.
Do you know the song "This Land Is Your Land"?
Sure.
Sure.
This
Okay.
land is your land.
Yeah, that
this
one.
land is
Okay,
my
so did you know
land.
there's actually some hidden verses that a lot of people don't know about? And
is it
one-
some racist shit?
No,
Because there's some hidden
Uh,
racist shit in the national anthem that they've just cut out.
there is.
Yeah.
That poem is awful. The literally the every like it's like a 50 verse thing, and everything that they don't have in it is awful.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Let me find the verse here.
Someone in the chat said crazy. What's crazy? I'm crazy.
Absolutely.
Because I don't believe in private property. Yeah, no, I don't.
Let me see here. Where's the? Let me see here. And well, I'm not going to waste too much time looking this up. But basically the verse goes something along the lines of walking, and I saw a sign that said private property, and that said this land wasn't made for me, because like it was like somebody had blocked off a part of the pasture side.
like it's silly, especially because, like I said, land is finite. Like,
Fun fact: Woody
And-
Guthrie wrote the song because he hated another female singer singing "America the Beautiful" constantly. That's why that song exists.
oh, didn't know that.
Yeah, fun fact.
Yeah. Yeah, America Beautiful was almost the national anthem.
I've had discussions with people, and this could be relevant. We could get into this. This will be fun. Maybe, or it's fun in my head anyways. Anyways, so there's been a push on several different occasions to change the national anthem. America the Beautiful, big
Sure.
one. And I always thought, what would make a good national anthem? Like, if you could pick any song to be the national anthem, what would you pick? It's gonna be.
I don't know, because it's like,
it's gonna be a 5-segment debate. So buckle up, folks.
yeah, I don't know. I would have to give me a second to think about it, because I want to just like pick my own like favorite song. It's like, yeah, that's the national anthem.
Well, and
Ocean
it's-
man, take me by the hand, lead me to the land that you understand.
Well, it come up because the NFL will be playing the Black national anthem
Sure.
prior to the national anthem. Every game, I think, is.
No,
what they're-
it's just the
this is
first.
just the
it's the first game.
week?
Yeah,
Okay. The very first game or the first week?
first week.
Okay. So
It's
that-
all games on the first week. Oh, shoot me another Cayman Jack, my
I
brother.
will.
Yeah, let's get a little tipsy on here. Cayman Jack does not endorse
No,
my statements.
this is the first night I've ever had these.
I
And,
have also never had them before.
I approve.
Yeah, they're not bad. It's just a glowing endorsement for me.
We're
It's not-
fermenting
it's
the
not- it's not
seeds
bad.
of what I call Cayman Jackery.
I don't know. What would you pick?
Ooh.
The new national anthem.
Let's see. I have 3,000 songs in my song library currently.
Imagine by John Lennon.
That's not actually that bad of a pick.
It's antithetical to even the concept of a national anthem, though.
Yeah,
Because it's
well,
like,
that's
imagine
why it's
there's no
perfect.
countries.
It's balance. It's yin. It's yang. It's both exists and doesn't at the same time. Checks all my boxes. I'm good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Debate's over, folks.
I don't.
I
I'm not prone to symbolism.
yeah, right. We talked
you
about
know?
that in the last one pretty frequently because we talked about flag burning.
Yeah.
I do maintain a good amount of patriotism, and that's in the regards of, like we talked before, just what I believe the country can be. But if I were to pick one,
Would you even change it then?
Yes.
You think you would?
Yeah, I don't like the national anthem that much.
It doesn't even slap, bro.
Number one, from like just a musical perspective, it's so difficult to sing, and the sacrifice we'll have to make is people recording bad versions of it.
Do you remember Fergie?
Yeah.
In the NBA game?
There's a few.
Yeah.
There's several.
Oh, there's one. It's a really old video. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a cop singing it, and he just butchers it horribly, and then it cuts to it cuts to the audience, and they're all like trying to hold in their laughter because he doesn't get the words right, and he's also like a bad singer.
I found a video. I know what one you're talking about. I found a video. There was that small string of internet history where people were making remixes out of everything. Somebody remixed him because he like butchers a note where he's like, ah! you know, and
he gets every word he gets wrong.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, they remixed it really hardcore, and I was like, damn.
Like, there's no way they just sprung that on you randomly. Like, you had a couple days to prepare, man. Learn the song. Don't make a fool of yourself.
Oh, say.
Or just like
the vocal
don't
range is just too hard. Number one, that's the problem, is nobody can sing it. There's maybe 8 people living on the planet who could hit the range technically required to sing it properly.
I could do it. I used to sing in the church choir when I was 12.
I sang in a when I was in 5th grade. I was in a musical where I played George Washington, and we sang about the Constitution.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty cool. I still remember some of the words of some of the songs. I'm not going to sing them today, but
yeah, probably not. Probably not.
Let me see. There was an issue displaying the preview.
Yeah. I used to sing lead in the church choir.
Oh, really?
When this girl wasn't there. When she was there, she sang lead, but she was pretty infrequent. So when she wasn't there, I sang lead.
I just imagine. All right, Katie's gone. Get in there. It's like a coach. Like he's got like an athletic hat.
You're just like, I'm ready, coach.
Put me in. I'm ready.
Hey, fun fact though, our preacher was jacked.
Was he really?
He was swole as fuck. Like he'd always wear like sports coats and stuff, you know, when he gives a sermon, so you didn't know. But then in choir practice, he would like take it off, and he would be in like a tank top, and he was just jacked, dude.
He was on that good word. The word is the brand of his like steroids he's taking.
That's like the biggest argument for being like religious. It's just that I feel like people who are very religious usually kind of have their shit together.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know?
It's hard to tame the chaos that is.
Yeah, human beings need structure, you know? I feel like when left to my own devices, I'm prone to self-destruct.
The only structure I need is one after the other.
Hey, cheers, brother. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, new national anthem, though. Number one, it'd be impossible to get anybody on board with anything. While I try to think of what songs I think would be good anthems, obviously, huge heavy metal fan. There's an old song by Slipknot called Surfacing, which is constantly introduced in live shows as your new national anthem, and I love it. Okay. And that would be a good one.
Never heard it.
It's very vulgar. Obviously, Killing in the Name of would be an excellent one. I'll show you the lyrics here. Boom. There you go. I'll let you read that while I ramble to myself here.
I mean, I don't care.
Perfect for the angsty youth.
Truth be told, like you change it, like my life would not be any different. In
that's
one
always
iota.
the big argument, and that's like what like people are like. Just like for the excuse me, just off the top of my head, when people are like, "Oh, gay people shouldn't get married," it's like, how does that bother you in your normal course of life? How does that change the way you feel in any given moment in your day? Like, are you in line at the store, like getting your groceries, and you're like,
the gays? I don't know. I feel like, and this is probably just a completely unwarranted conspiracy theory that I have. But anybody who thinks being gay is a choice, like is just gay, and they're choosing to be straight like they're choosing to live as a straight person, but inside they know like if I gave in to my actual like what I wanted to do, I'd be. But like
Well,
the
there
fact
was,
that the fact that I have a wife and I'm choosing to be straight, like it's a choice. that shows that it's a choice. Because I don't know if you ever watch like religious people talk about it. Like they always go like, there's that temptation, and you just got to be stronger than it. And it's like, I don't know, bro. I don't have that temptation.
You're just gonna be.
I think that if you eliminated any sort of societal structures on like what we conceive of as like sexuality or gender, I think a lot more people would just like just fuck around. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people would just like.
Well, that's almost that like Brave New World scenario. Like,
What do you mean?
Have you read Brave New World?
I have read Brave New World, but
Well,
they didn't
it's
touch
like-
on like gay shit.
No, well, not like gay, but just like sexuality in general. How they just like completely eliminate the stigma of it, and like everybody's free to, fuck
Yeah.
around as they see fit, and there's nobody says no. Well,
I mean,
within the
I'm still-
confines of the book.
I
I've also haven't read the book in literally 10 years, so
haven't read it since high school. It's
yeah.
been a while. Is that Albert Huxley?
Huxley, yeah.
Yeah.
Aldous? No, Albert. Aldous. Huxley.
It is Huxley.
Huxtable. No.
It's Cleveland Huxtable. That's not a person.
No.
What I haven't watched Cosby Show in a long time
No.
either. Cliff Huxtable, that was his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that show in years either. All right, let's see here.
We're coming up
this
on the
out.
break, so
This will give me a chance while that does that. I'm gonna sift through my audio because I feel like we should keep coming back to this. Every week from now on, we're gonna submit a new idea for a new national anthem, and you, the voters, the viewers, will get to pick. We're gonna
the
get
new national anthem will be decided by the 10 people that watch our
by
stream.
pop. Oh, what if there was a amendment to the Constitution that required every 4 years or so, every time a president is elected, he has to select a national anthem,
That'd
and
be pretty.
it can't be the same song twice.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That
That'd
would
be pretty.
that'd be pretty
hilarious.
cool, right?
There's
Or
there's
every-
so much music.
Every time a new Congress is sworn in, they get to pick a new anthem.
There's so much music out there too.
That would be cool.
Like, there's
That would actually
There's
be
literally-
really cool.
I would say there's probably billions of songs.
Oh, it's uncountable.
Yeah.
There's no way to know, and
There's
that's
no way to
just
know.
what gets officially released.
Yeah, there's
Like-
got to be so
like-
many.
Like,
How much does Spotify have on? Because that's not even the entire
That's
like
not even
catalog.
close.
But
Just
it's like,
like-
but I feel like they already have like hundreds of thousands.
I wonder how many. So let's look that up. This will be a fun fact. Maybe I'll release the info on the next recording.
50 million songs are on Spotify.
Lists over 50 million songs.
Over 50 million songs.
Over
Okay,
40,000
well, maybe-
songs are
maybe
added
I'll-
to the platform every day. That's just what's on Spotify.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't include
I feel like
SoundCloud.
I feel like Spotify has a pretty.
They're pretty much
They
the
have a
most
lot
complete.
though.
Yeah.
They definitely have a lot.
They're the
So I guess
most
maybe it's not
complete.
billions. I mean, it's probably billions because there's definitely like probably like some folk songs and stuff like that, like some traditional songs that
I
don't
wonder
make it
too,
on there.
How much of that is like I was about to say canon. How much of it is covers? Like,
Yeah.
too, like
Maybe there's not
the
billions of
same
songs.
songs.
Maybe I overestimated it.
I know there's almost an infinite amount of combinations you can make just
Yeah.
from basic melodies. So
Yeah.
like
I watched a video on that. Like
I
how
did
much
too.
how much music could there be? Was it Vsauce?
I think so.
Yeah, I love
I miss
Vsauce.
Vsauce.
Yeah, now he's doing YouTube Red shit, so it's all like behind
They
behind a
canceled-
paywall.
They canceled all the YouTube Red stuff.
Did they?
The word on the street was they were gonna make all the YouTube Red stuff free in the near future.
that'd be cool because Vsauce moved to that and did like
Yeah.
his own show on there, and it'd be nice.
Mind
It'd be
Break.
nice to watch him.
Mind Break, I think, was what it was called.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Something like that.
YouTube just became so corporatized. I kind of forgot like what the magic of YouTube was, which was just like anybody
could create.
just throw up a camera or do some animation and just make a
I think
video.
that, and we could talk about that too, like because that kind of gets onto like some of the free speech too, a little bit, like the corporatization of YouTube, how they started making. Like you can't say like right now, like you can't say literally the word coronavirus or COVID in your video or they'll
you get
demonetize you.
demonetized. There's a lot of things you can't say. I don't think you can say racist. I've seen YouTubers beep it out,
beep.
and I'm thinking that it's because if like they pick up that you've said it, like it'll demonetize your video. But I don't know.
Doesn't shock me one bit. Very interesting. I don't know. I don't know the words, the list. I know you can't advocate violence. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
pretty much the standard rule of thumb for any
Yeah,
platform.
that's kind of why like a lot of people have moved to like Patreon and stuff.
Yeah, sustaining.
Yeah, or just like putting sponsored ads in the video because YouTube will demonetize a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I know. One of my favorite podcasts uses exclusively sponsored ads, but they have established audiences. Both of them, they're comedians.
Mm.
Let's see here.
What podcast?
King and the Sting. It's one of my favorite ones. They just roast two comedians. They just roast the shit out of people and things and talk shit on each other.
Yeah. I only really listen to Chapo Trap House and the Antifada podcast.
Oops.
Ooh, there's a Radical Left podcast that's based out of Nebraska.
Really?
Omaha.
Well, that's interesting.
Omaha's awesome, man. Omaha's got a real like, just like progressive like.
Omaha, you know what? We can hit this one up here on this next bit. There we go. So one of the things I said in between on this...
Dude, wouldn't it have been crazy if this guy who was going to donate to us, like, was going to give us, like, a $10,000 or something?
That'd be so cool.
No, that would suck because we missed it.
That would be excellent.
Because we haven't set up our donation. Now he's gone forever.
The words are what's valuable here. Heed my words, fools. Not fools. You guys are great. Bye, audience. So one of the things I said in between the little breaks there, which if you guys were listening all the way through, you heard. If you're just on the audio one, this will be new for you. I said, as how hilarious would it be if like an incoming president or an incoming Congress selects a national anthem for the incoming 2 to 4 years? Like how great that would be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know.
If the current president selected the anthem, what do you think he would pick?
What do you think Donald Trump would pick?
Yeah.
Something stupid. Something stupid. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like it's got to not only be stupid, but it's got to be like mean too.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think.
It's got to be something like it's got to be something like like racist dog whistle song.
That's what I'm trying to think, like something with like awful metaphors in it.
It would be that one song that was in American History X.
Oh God!
With the fat guy in the car. He said, "Mine eyes have seen the glory of the trampling at the zoo."
Yeah,
we washed ourselves in
ridiculous like that. Oh my God! Let's see here.
Oh, that's what I would pick. It's my national anthem, John Brown's Body.
I don't think I know that one.
That was actually the first song written to that tune. John Brown's body lies a moldering in the grave.
Ooh.
John Brown's body lies a moldering in the grave.
It's available on Spotify.
John Brown's body lies a moldering in the grave, but his soul goes marching on.
Oh, okay. Look at that.
John Brown's body, baby.
Oh yeah, written to the tune of Battle Hymn of the Republic. Yeah. Okay. Mine eyes have seen the glory. Yeah, okay. Where's the lyrics? I want the lyrics.
Yeah.
You just sang the lyrics.
They hung him for a traitor. They themselves the traitor crew. But his soul goes marching on. And John Brown died to put an end to slavery. It's been a long time since I've heard it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good song.
Mulder, yeah. Knapsack is strapped upon his back. Pet lambs meet him on the way. Interesting. Fantastic.
Yeah. John Brown, real American legend.
So I found an article here. Donald Trump's favorite song and the surprising music he also loves. This could be
I don't
propaganda.
think that he's just like a human, man. I don't even know if he likes music.
He's a robot. Let's see here. Is that all? According to past interviews, his favorite song is That All There Is by Peggy Lee. I don't know that song.
Yeah, I don't know it either.
I'm going to look up the lyrics to that one. Is that all there is? It's probably one of those things that he just said on a whim and really doesn't mean it. Let's see here.
I'm surprised he didn't say like some sort of gospel just because he's pandering so hard to his evangelical base.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he said that his favorite book is the Bible.
Yeah, he did say that on
You know,
a
my
couple
favorite book's the Bible.
occasions.
And then someone like, I forget who it was, they were interviewing him and they were like, do you have a favorite verse? He's like, I can't, I don't want to say. He's like, well, come on, like, do you want to just like tell us one that you like? He's like, no, I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I will. It's because he's never read it.
It's such a good book. There's so many good verses.
I couldn't pick. There's so many.
I couldn't pick just one. There's so many good ones. I really like the thing that happens at the beginning. You know, the best thing.
Yeah, no, he's so obviously like just conning religious people.
It's baffles me that they can't see it.
Yeah.
I don't. Well,
Dude, he handed out signed Bibles one time. Like he's the guy who wrote it or something.
it's like when people are like this. It's like when you go into the hotels and they're like, "This book was left here by," you know, whatever group placed it in there, and it's like, oh, it just hurts
you know,
me.
there's all those like give a book, take a book things.
Yes.
Around town. I've been thinking about just like ordering a bunch of the Communist Manifesto and just putting them in there.
Just nonstop.
Just putting them in all of
dude,
them.
If you did that, you know how fast they'd open an FBI office here.
You think so? Oh, they would find it right away because
They would
I
move it.
ordered my copy on Amazon. I would probably order the rest of them on Amazon. You fools! You're giving me the tool to your own downfall, Amazon.
Oh, so you ever see that meme? It's one of my favorites. It's stupid, but he's like, "Oh, call an ambulance for you." And he pulls out a gun.
No,
You
I
have
don't think I've seen
offered
that.
to me the tools to your own demise.
But yeah, I only know of two in the
funniest
town. Do you know where they are?
I know somebody set a couple on fire, so there's less than there once was.
That's nice.
Yeah, and that's something.
That's nice of
God
'em.
forbid anybody do anything for the community.
Yeah.
But isn't that just a mirror for like everything that goes on in the world these days? Like,
You can't just do anything.
yeah, you can't
Like,
just be nice anymore.
no,
Like
everyone's got to be
you're, like-
be shitty.
yeah, like shitty behavior is incentivized. Oh man. Oh, I'm gonna have to think on that one. I had a really good example of that, and I wanted to share it here. But what was it? Oh my god.
Of what? Just people being shitty.
Yeah, like how like being shitty is incentivized versus like doing the right thing. I mean, there's a million billion examples of it, but like this one was so good, and it was a local spiel. And I just don't
like just
remember.
wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Like it's the craziest thing.
I got mine.
Of
I
just
got mine
like-
right here.
I have a bunch that I cycle through.
When I showed up, this gentleman here looked at me like I was crazy because I had hood up, mask on, glasses on. Like
Yeah.
I was just.
I was like, oh, this is it. This is how I get killed.
This is how they take me.
This is like some fucking CIA agent.
Are you the progenitor of Sour Source Podcast? I'm gonna need you to come with me. Just in a monotone voice.
no, thank you. And
Actually,
then
if I
he's-
had aviators, it's because I had sports sunglasses is what gave it away. If I had aviators, it would have been game over.
I always wonder. I wonder like how much you would have to be considered like sort of a sower of dissent before they like made an FBI file on you.
Honestly,
Like I wonder if do they even do that anymore? You think?
No, I don't think they do it anymore because like there are stories though. Like they had a file on like Martin Luther King.
Yeah, they've had
They've had
well, I mean,
several
they
files.
had so many files.
Well,
on
they
so many
had
people.
there was a thing.
the FBI killed Martin Luther King.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember listening to Joe Rogan, and he had a CIA dude on there, and that's what he said because they asked him about JFK. You know, mostly.
Oh, well, JFK. I don't know who killed him, but it was
But the reply to that was everybody looks at that one. That one's and he goes, that's pretty cut and dry. I'm paraphrasing his quote here, but he goes, now Martin Luther King's assassination is the one you need to look into.
Yeah, his family sued the federal government and won. Like apparently there was enough evidence to suggest that the government killed Martin Luther King. I don't know. You think the JFK one was pretty cut and dry though? Like you think it was Lee Harvey Oswald?
Well, the reason yeah, more or less, and the reason is, and maybe somebody could give me info. We're gonna be attracting the wrong crowd with this segment. No, like I watched a thing on Discovery Channel where they like effectively recreated the shot, and they were able, like, they didn't do it exact, but they were able to do it
from the
yeah, they went out to like a field and they created stand-ins, and then they built like a tower, and they're like, this is where he shot, and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Now I did
Lee
hear
Harvey Oswald was a interesting dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was a I did hear an interesting theory that I had never heard before the other day.
It was the mafia.
No, I've heard that one. That's the one a lot of people use to explain why bad things keep happening to everybody in that family. That's the biggest one. Yeah, they're still going after him. But no, this one was that Lee Harvey Oswald did make the shot, but he didn't actually hit JFK. He hit the guy in front, the secretary or whatever he was. I don't remember who it was right now.
Yeah.
And the Secret Service, who did have rifles with them,
they
in their panic,
accidentally
accidentally shot him.
JFK got shot twice if you watch the video. He gets hit once in the chest, and like he like looks down, and like Jackie like checks over at him too, and then he gets shot in the head. So he got hit twice. Yeah.
Interesting.
Lee Harvey Oswald, he was like a Soviet defector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting.
He was like a
little
sharpshooter,
bits there.
and I don't know.
Did you ever
Was
play,
it just easier to kill a president back then? Like, how the fuck did they get away with it?
Well, supposedly that. Well, not necessarily. That the one interesting bit about that is that convertible they were in actually has a bulletproof top, but they took it down for that specific parade or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it did. They did have one at the airport when they brought the car in. Like
Yeah.
so, like yeah, I don't know, just one of those one
Yeah.
one of those one things.
Because like, imagine if he had done it, like got all set up on the grassy knoll and
Yeah.
like prepared, and then they had the the top over it, and he's like, ah, damn. Can't do it today.
It's like one of those things where they're like, it's like even like Bruce Lee, where like one little thing that you always do and you don't do it and it sets you up for disaster. Like like Bruce Lee, when he broke his back, like chose not to warm up that day, and his back gave out on him, and so like I don't know.
And then do you ever listen to Bill Hicks? He's a stand-up comedian. He died when he was really young from pancreatic cancer.
But he has know the name, but I haven't really delved into the library.
Yeah, he's got a good bit about that. He's like, do you ever notice how everyone who comes and says that we all need to get along and love each other, they get killed, and we let the demons run amok? Like, think about it. Martin Luther King, dead. Gandhi, dead. JFK, dead. John Lennon, dead. Ronald Reagan, wounded.
Damn, that's a good one. I was actually thinking about bringing that up too, because he got shot on the street in New York.
Yeah, and fucking he made it. Evil people never die.
It's true.
Evil people don't die. Like, you see, Bolsonaro has fucking COVID. He's gonna be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Who's the British Prime Minister?
Boris Johnson.
Boris Johnson. He's fine. Like, it's only gonna be good people that die.
That's not good.
Although, you see that video or that post that's been making circulations about that guy who's like, I'm never gonna wear a mask. Masks are bullshit. This is all made up. And then like a week later, he's like, I have symptoms. I'm going to go get checked out. And then a week after that, he posted like, oh man, this coronavirus sucks. I can barely breathe.
Yeah.
And then he died.
Yeah, they have his obituary attached to it. That's just, why is it?
It's being stupid to own the libs.
My favorite one. God, these things are syrupy. My favorite one.
Real sweet.
Yeah.
Real sweet.
Yeah, it's like making my mouth like. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
I saw a post the other day where they were talking about how like conservatives and Trumpers and blah 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 like don't want to wear masks, and like how one person was like, Donald Trump should have just printed MAGA masks and handed them out. He would have made a killing.
Oh, he just wore a mask.
Yeah, I did see that. First time ever in public. Reports have said that he wears them in private. And he does, if you look in video, he does actively avoid people who are displaying coughing or there's the famous clip where he dips out. He's just like nope. I'm out.
And it's funny though, because like he's taking it seriously, and yet he's telling all of his supporters not to. It's it's becoming such a fucking death cult, you know?
It's a scary shtick. Like
it is a death cult. Being a Trump supporter, being a fucking American conservatism is a death cult where they are like
I don't
just
understand.
objectively going against just reality.
Yeah,
Like, oh, climate change is going to kill everybody. I don't like mine more, frack more, burn more coal, do everything. Fuck it. I don't give a
the
shit.
market will fix it.
It's like, masks can stop you from spreading the virus. I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, nobody can infringe upon my rights, even though I've been voting for people that have been infringing upon my rights for years.
Your right to what? Not wear a mask?
That's the one that always got me. I'm like, actually, there is a court case where they can require you to wear a mask, but that's beyond the point. It's literally in opposition to nothing. It's like
because it's like, hey,
it's
just
like-
put it on for 20 minutes while you go to the grocery store.
pure-
Like, big fucking deal.
pure opposition. Like it is the primordial root of opposition. It's I'm going to oppose whatever you say because because you exist. Like
the Republicans have just become so partisan where it's like Democrats can say something, and this is coming from someone who has no loyalty to the Democratic Party, but they can just say something that's a fact. That's just a verifiable fact of the universe, and they'll be like, no, no, fucking Democrats. Coronavirus is not only it's overhyped, but it was a biological weapon made in a Chinese government lab, but also it's not real. But also, America is inflating their numbers, but also China is hiding their numbers. But also, and it's just like
they
series.
never follow it to its logical conclusion.
It's just a series of different fucking conspiracy theories, all like tied up to.
It's like
to each
one
other.
big conspiracy. And it's like, so like, I thought about this the other day because I had somebody make that reference to me too, that it was a biological weapon that was released to destroy the United States economy. Okay, cool. So maybe, okay, let's pretend that's true for a second. How do you explain your president's awful response to it? If that is the case...
Yeah,
where's
he could have
like every other, just about every other country on the planet
handled it so much better.
Yeah,
so much better.
Like even if you believe that's true, okay, you know what? I'll play along. I'll play along. But how do you excuse the awful response?
Yeah, if that was true, like I'd be more upset at Donald Trump for his response to it because like he did nothing to protect us.
Again,
from like if this was a biological attack. Like, honestly, if anything, this whole thing has just showed us how vulnerable the U.S. would be to a biological attack.
And remember, like 88 countries bombed Syria over the idea that they used chemical weapons. Like,
yeah.
I mean, if China did do it and there was credible evidence to suggest so, like, there would be a response to it. Like,
yeah, but it's like, I don't know. And this is the first time I'm making that connection, but I don't doubt that other intelligence agencies have been like, dude, you see how bad the United States is at handling a pandemic? But like thinking, what if we did release a biological weapon on them because they would be so it would only affect the United States,
right?
Like uniquely affect the United States.
It's a cause for it's a national security concern. Like another one too, like was like when all the farm markets and whatnot were collapsing, and their big idea was to funnel a bunch of money into farms, which ended up going to foreign farms because corporate farming and all that jazz. And it's like that's a security concern because it's like, you can't control your own food, like food to house pipelines. Like it's part of the same thing. It's just like, how do you excuse those responses other than, oh, these are just things that the libs are coming up with to hurt DT?
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Japan never even shut down.
No, they're all wearing masks. Like, and another interesting portion.
And then
too,
New Zealand
has
like
none.
they just they shut down for a month, two cycles of COVID, 4 weeks, and then gave everybody 80% of their pay and put a mortgage freeze on.
Yeah.
And they're down to zero. It's like we could have done that we didn't.
They could have guaranteed for less than what they paid to corporations and small businesses
easily.
in
The
in
Fed
PPP loans.
The Fed just printed out $2 trillion and injected it into the stock market, and then it went up for like an hour and then immediately fell again. And it's like, well, you just set $2 trillion on fire. That was cool.
I had a statistic the other day that I wish I would have saved. To be honest, I actually had a lot of articles saved. I don't know why I don't have them. But one of the things was if they would have covered the salaries of every working person in the United States, they could have done so for literally 4 months for less than what they gave to corporations and the stock markets and all that stuff. And it would have costed less.
Yeah.
So, like, explain that. Like, I can tell you exactly why they did it. But
yeah, because we live in
because they bought us out for a $1,200
corporatocracy
check.
at this point.
It is a corporatocracy.
Where it's like, if a business does really, really well, they get to keep all the profits to themselves. Mm-hmm. But if it fails, then the taxpayers will bail them out. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
we'll bail out everybody. We'll bail out cruise lines. We'll bail out
Boeing,
companies that don't even fly our flag. Like, this flag that's so important to you. And why aren't you so much more upset that companies that don't even host their headquarters here are getting bailed out? Like,
or it's just like, if we're gonna bail them out with taxpayer dollars, then we should be able to. Then we should have bought stock in that company. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we technically fucking should own it, since it was our money that bailed them out.
But one of the attacks people have used against Bernie Sanders in the past was the fact that he voted for. Joe Biden did this in the debate where he claimed that Bernie voted for the bailout that he is accusing Joe Biden of supporting.
Yeah.
Which is true. But Bernie didn't do it because he's bailing out banks. Bernie did it because they had an auto worker bailout tied into it.
Yeah.
And that was the cost of that agreement.
Yeah. Did you see that video I shared with Joe Biden having an interview with Addie Barkan?
I don't think I did, but I have a good feeling I know what you're talking about.
Addie Barkan is the
guy who's got right?
Yeah, he's the activist. I think he's got Lou Gehrig's.
Yeah, that's correct. Addie Barkan. Yeah, that is right.
Yeah. And literally it opens up with him saying, Joe Biden, you know that I am a big proponent of Medicare for all. And Joe Biden goes, I'm not. I'm just like, Joe Biden, you can suck my dick, bro. Like, fuck you.
Even in the middle of a pandemic, you won't even agree. Even if it was just treating COVID patients for free. Like,
yeah, and the guy even asks him, Addie asks him at one point, he's like, what is the benefit of having like private insurance? Like, why couldn't we nationalize it? And he had no answer. He was like, I hear you, but they pay me a lot of money, so
I'll tell you, I can tell
yourself.
You the benefit. You lose the benefit. We don't need to get into that, but goddamn, it blows my mind. Here's a fun one though. Talking about Joe Biden, I did want to bring this up today too. Did you see the big long form interview he did the other day, a couple days ago? Mm-hmm. But Bernie Sanders came out with a supportive statement after the fact. I didn't really watch the interview, so I can only imagine, what happened during it. But Bernie Sanders said Joe Biden could be the most progressive president ever.
I saw that. You're breaking my heart, Bernie.
Yeah, that hurts. I was just like, my first immediate reaction is, that meme, "Am I a joke to you?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just imagined FDR's face there. Just like,
yeah.
Like you're not gonna, like, he's tried to undo everything.
Yeah. But, like, he's tried to get rid of Social Security, and then you're going to act like he's going to be a transformative president. Joe Biden's going to be another feckless lib who doesn't do shit. Which, is objectively better than Donald Trump, for sure.
Yeah, do not mistake our criticisms of Joseph Biden for being anti-Dem or anti-lib or anti-progressive, whatever.
I'm anti-lib.
That's fair.
I'm anti-Joe Biden, but I'm also don't mistake that for being pro-Trump.
Yeah, don't conflate the two, because they're two opposite things. It was like, what did B share on Facebook the other day, earlier today? I don't know if you've seen it. I didn't say his full name because privacy.
Oh yeah.
But something like "Don't split the Green Party by voting Democrat."
Yeah, dude, Howie Hawkins 2020 for sure.
That's one of the best things I've seen in forever.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh,
don't split the
damn.
green vote.
Don't split the Green Vote Party by voting
Joe Biden. God, I hope, man. But you watch our streams like a few weeks ago. I was very much like, I don't care. Joe Biden and Donald Trump are not different enough for me to justify voting for either of them. But man, Donald Trump has absolutely made me rethink my position because the comments he was making about the BLM protests, about how he was wanting the National Guard to be an occupying army against them.
Correct.
And then the Nazi imagery he's invoking, like his ad that got taken down.
I do have
and his that shirt that he made with the eagle over the
quite clearly the what is it, Iron Eagle or whatever.
Like it's very clear that Donald Trump is a fascist tyrant in the making insofar as our system will allow one to exist. Like he will do whatever he can to be a fascist dictator. I have to be like, yeah, dude, vote for Joe Biden, man.
I don't think I shared this video, but they were talking about Donald Trump and like the 25 steps to authoritarian dictatorship. And like at this point in time, like there's only two steps left, and the first one of those two is declare the election invalid.
That's gonna happen.
Oh yeah,
100% that's gonna happen. You ever watch Mark Maron? He's another stand-up comedian.
I don't.
But he was talking about it. Like he didn't even bring up, like he didn't even say Donald Trump, but he's just sitting on stage and he just goes, "I don't know, guys. I don't know what he's gonna do next. I don't. Do you? What if he doesn't leave? I know you've thought about this. I know you've thought about this. Like, what if he doesn't fucking leave?" And he's like, "I said this one time on stage, and then a lady in the audience went, 'There would be anarchy in the streets.'" He was like, "In this fucking country? You kidding me? You know what's going to happen? 2 weeks into him not leaving, people are just going to be like, he's still there? It's so weird, isn't it? Well, yeah, it's so fucked up and weird.
All right.
It's so weird."
I will say this. In past streams, I have said how disappointed I am that no elected official or general or anything stood up to his National Guard comments about sicking the military on the protesters.
Yeah.
General, I think Mattis finally did say something along the lines and doing something that he was trying to do would amount to treason. And I was like, oh, finally somebody says it.
Yeah.
Like, thank God. But that's all I wanted to hear. Like, I just want to know that the military is on the side of the Constitution and the people.
Nah, but then that conservative talk radio show, the local one that I listened to, they were like, Mattis is weak. He sucks. He's against Trump. He's part of the deep state. And it's just like, no matter.
So here's a fun one too. This really happened. So a couple weeks ago, or last week, or this past week, Germany has an elite commando unit in their military.
Okay.
I don't know what their official name is because I don't speak German, but it was like one of their highest of high special forces. They disbanded it because they found out several members were members of neo-Nazi groups.
Oh shit.
And instead of just saying this will exist, they're like, nope, get out. You're done. Yeah. That's how you handle that shit. Do
you remember when it came out that Coast Guard member?
Oh yeah,
was the Coast Guardsman
plotting the attack, right?
Yeah, he was a big neo-Nazi. Yeah, that shit's real, man. There's all those pictures of the police doing white power signs. It's
so much more prevalent.
There's all these lynched people that are coming out and they're being immediately ruled as suicides, and it's almost as if the police are in on it. And I'm not here to promote conspiracy theories or whatnot, but
they're so easy.
But yeah, dude, I think things are more dire than we're willing to admit. I think these things are more pervasive than we're willing to admit.
I do agree with that. I do have an article too I wanted to share.
But do you think even? I mean, we're coming up close to the break. If you wanted to save that for
I'll save it.
The next segment, but I don't doubt that Donald Trump would be in favor of actual Nazis. Forming his own SS with Nazis.
Do you think it's a parallel development where he's while he like from a political standpoint, aligns very, very much point for fascism. Fascism.
Yeah.
Fucking Caymans.
You already sloshed.
No.
But no, it's
But it's not that he subscribes to fascism. It's just a parallel development.
Yeah.
Like he happens to follow that ideology, but he's more authoritarian in that regard. Because we do know, like personality wise, he wants to be in control of everything.
Yeah. I think that these are not coincidences, man. The Iron Eagle shirt and the tweeting that guy saying white power
Doing
and
a rally at Rushmore.
Yeah, or doing a rally in Tulsa, you know, on fucking Juneteenth. Like, I think he, if it's not him that knows what he's doing, it's somebody in his administration who knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I flip-flop too. Like sometimes I'm like, this guy's a dumbass. Like he has no idea what he's doing. Then other times I'm like, this guy knows exactly what he's doing.
No, he's cultivating like a fascist base, dude. He's cultivating a white supremacist base, and it's fucking scary.
It is. It really is.
So I'm like, no matter how much I don't like Joe Biden at this point, I'm just like it has to be done.
They have to.
It has to be done.
Defeated first.
I don't think that there's. I don't even know if there's not something of like a potential like new McCarthyism, where like people like me who have been posting like communist shit would get like rounded up and tried and shit. Like I don't know if that's outside the realm of possibility at this point. It could
very well be around the corner. All right.
Yeah, bring it on, motherfuckers. I gotta take a piss.
All right, we'll break there. That's actually good time to break. And that's all you're gonna hear for the next 15 minutes or so. I haven't checked any audio levels. I hope that is fine. Welcome back.
So in the chat, how does someone get this little crown thing?
I think that means they're a Twitch Prime member. Yeah, that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with like the Twitch community things. Like they have a lot of like emotes and stuff that some of them I don't really know what they are since I'm an old man. I'm a old man. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of articles being posted about like these intermediary generations. Like obviously, you know, there's Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z, blah blah blah, Boomers, and then they have like these new ones that are like these are Xennials, which are in between Millennials and Z, and then there's Xennials, which are in between X, and then I'm like, these are dumb.
Yeah.
These are.
I mean, these are all kind of nebulous concepts.
Yeah, they're overarching generalizations. Anyways, it's like it doesn't make sense to try to.
Yeah.
To get more into them, man. It's taking forever.
Yeah, boomers be the dumbest people on the fucking planet, though.
Yeah. Karens.
Fucking idiots.
I have a buddy of mine that shares Karen's memes all the time, and it's so
like good. Ironically, or
no, because he's like yeah, in a way. No, not ironically, just like hilarious, like Like from a position of like looking down upon them, like really. People sticking their noses.
Yeah.
There we go.
Nobody knows how to just mind their own fucking business.
They really don't. That's what I like most about libertarians.
What? They mind their own business?
I think I realized what I did wrong on the last one looking at this microphone selection. I think I picked the wrong microphone setting. Because this says ADAT in 1-2, and we need instrument in line 1-2. That might have been when I messed up.
Did we do it right this time?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
Yeah. I hope. I'm going to check it before I leave. I'm not leaving until I get this
All right.
settled. Anyways,
Hey, we're back.
so, all right, part number 3.
Part 3.
I'm gonna write a jingle for this berry thing. So before you hear whatever sound, you would have heard about 10 seconds ago at this point in time that I put as an intermediary between these bits. There's an article I wanted to share, and I haven't fact checked this, and it's from some site called Stars and Stripes.
That's like a military propaganda site, isn't it?
Is it really?
I think so.
I don't know. It's just an interesting one because it says Homeland Security gets new role under Trump monument order, where basically they're arming soldiers in tactical gear to protect statues and monuments and all that jazz. Does not compute.
Just fucking eye roll. You can't hear it in the stream. You can't hear it in the podcast, but my eyes just rolled back into my head. But he did say that in the in his Mount Rushmore speech, didn't he? That he was
something along those lines.
Minimum of 10 years in prison for taking down a Confederate statue.
Yeah, that was a rough speech too. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but oh my god, I was just like, man.
But his base eats that garbage up, dude.
Yeah, they love
it's so dumb. They're the dumbest fucking people on the planet. Like, they're the dumbest fucking people on the planet. Like, Trump is their version of a smart guy.
I will say.
And that already, like, shows how low the fucking bar is. Like, how dumb they are.
Well, they've been defunding education for years, man. I think I've said it. I don't know if I've said it on here, but that's, like, one of the reasons they don't want, like, free college, for instance. Has nothing to do with the cost.
Yeah.
It's because they know that when people get educated, they end up more to the left.
Well, yeah. Why do you think, like, anti-intellectualism is so huge on the right? Like how they keep trying to push these like conspiracy theories that they're like indoctrinating kids. And it's like, no, it turns out when you just learn more things, you're going to be more left leaning because facts have a well-known liberal bias.
Yeah. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah, that was
one of the phrases that got me into that
Colbert.
argument. This is a callback to our first conversation earlier about that guy. It was one that I said to him. I was like, well, my facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah, and it's funny though because like the guy who's famous for like popularizing that was Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, Ben Chap.
And every argument that Ben Shapiro ever makes, it comes from a place of feeling.
I always call him Ben Chap.
Yeah, once I get my computer in, man, I'm gonna do some epic takedowns of Ben Shapiro.
Let's take them all down. Everybody's getting took down.
Everyone's getting taken down.
So another one too, you were talking about like Juneteenth too. I think another day that would be awesome to celebrate as a holiday would be Abolition Day, like December 5th, representing the 13th Amendment.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
I don't know how many days off they're going to be giving us, man.
Well, they don't want to give us any days off, but remember Mitch McConnell when the Democratic Party passed the bill to make voting day a national holiday. In his this is how he talks in my mind. And this is the Democrats' big plans. They're gonna make a holiday and give time off to people, like
to vote,
to do their civic duty.
Yeah, it's insane that it isn't already a holiday.
It really is.
Like, it's crazy.
Actually,
or to even like make it 2 days that you can give people days off, but you obviously can't give everyone the day off. So like make it 2 days where you like put everyone, half the people on one day and half the people on the other day.
Back in my political dealings back in the day when I ran for an executive office, as they say without getting too specific, I made the phrase in a newspaper interview that I caught a little flack for because I don't think people were ready to hear the truth. But I had said, people need to stop thinking the government's broken. I was like, what you have to understand is that it's working exactly as intended.
Yeah.
And I caught some fire for that because, people, no, you worked, but, and I don't want to hear it. But it's true. And I'm starting to see a lot more people running and a lot more officials using that statement. And I'm not saying that I developed it.
Yeah.
Because if you follow the logic path,
a little bit of the head of the curve.
yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah, it's
At least where we live. I'm sure I'm 10 years behind. Like if I were to go to the coast.
yeah. All of these, it's really just insidious. All of these things sort of feed into each other. Sort of just like the elimination of like single income households.
Yeah.
Where like you can't like keep an eye on your kids as well as you used to, and stuff like that. Like one of the biggest indicators of like criminality when you get older is like sort of events that occurred during your childhood. And there's like a study done with Reese's monkeys. You know about this study? It's really inhumane. But if you've ever taken like a psychology class, they usually talk about it. Basically they took these monkeys away from their mothers, and they replaced their moms with like a wire rack that had a bottle in it so they could feed and stuff. And so they would snuggle up next to this wire rack and stuff. Like it was like a surrogate for their mom. It was really fucking sad. But then they like reintroduced them back into like society, and they were antisocial and aggressive and just could not function in society anymore. I think that sociopaths are made. Like I don't think that you're born that way. I think it comes down to like the amount of love that you're given as a child,
Yeah.
So like if the prison industrial complex has a vested interest in not having people
everybody has forgotten about
be
this.
well adjusted,
Yeah, everybody's forgotten about this case too. Remember the Philadelphia judge or wherever he's from that was basically selling kids to the prison system.
Oh yeah.
Like I mean,
I just rewatched Capitalism: A Love Story where they discussed that.
I don't think I've
It's a
seen
Michael
that.
Moore movie.
Oh yeah,
It's free on YouTube
I'll
actually.
have to check that out.
Yeah.
He's
really good.
He's had a couple new documentaries that I've been
Senpai Bernie
super
Sanders
interested-
shows up in it.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah. Elizabeth Warren shows up in it too before
Yeah.
she was
Before
she was
she was
awful.
a spy.
yeah, before it turned out she was the ops.
Knew it from the get go.
You did. I re-listened to Infighting. You knew it. But she was really cool back when she was just a professor.
But not going there. But yeah, no. She's trying really hard to be Joe Biden's VP pick. So I'll give her that. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, it 100% will not happen.
I'm not sold that he's going to pick a woman.
I think he will, but he's gonna pick Kamala Harris. Have we talked about this on the stream? Like where we picked who we think.
We have talked. Not for
he's picking Kamala Harris.
Not for who Joe Biden will pick. We've talked about literally the day before Bernie dropped out. We talked about who he needs to announce one right away in order to generate buzz. But no, we haven't talked too much about Joe Biden.
It's Kamala Harris.
I know that. I firmly believe that is the case as well.
Yeah.
There's a couple others that I could understand, but they won't be them.
It would have been Klobuchar if the George Floyd thing never happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is correct. That pretty much eliminated her from contention because
But
literally
it was going to be her.
The week leading up to it was that she was under scrutiny for it.
She's being vetted for.
Yeah, there's a few different ones. There's like
there's speculation it was going to be Stacey Abrams, but then that's been put to rest.
She abandoned some of her more.
It should be Nina Turner, but it's absolutely not going to be.
No.
Oh, dude, if it was Nina Turner,
what if it was Bernie?
It's not going to be Bernie.
I know it's not. I'm just saying.
I don't even think that would be a good move because Bernie's getting up there, man. I think Bernie's part in whatever any of this is, I think it's done.
Yeah.
But
I think I agree.
He did more.
You had made a statement. I don't know if it was on this or if it was just after the fact that you had said like Bernie is now just kind of stepping aside like for the new wave of
Bernie
people coming in, and I think I actually agree with that. The more I look at the moves he made, I do think that he made the moves he did in order to stoke the fire
Yeah, Bernie.
and then go out as like this ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think words can describe how grateful I am to Bernie Sanders for kind of reinvigorating class consciousness, reinvigorating these ideas.
He opened my eyes. I've
yeah.
always been fairly liberal, but like I would never have considered myself a like
a leftist.
progressive or a leftist. Like I think I'm like a borderline,
but
like full blown leftist.
He's done that to so many people, so many
like,
young people.
Like I've always had like these like political leanings where I'm like just from like a humanity perspective, and I never like. That's why I was a registered independent for so long, because like I've talked about it on here before in short, and I'll just recap it again. My very first political registration was Republican because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Because I turned 18, got my driver's license, and they're like, "Who do you want to register for?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What is there?" Like I was always interested in politics, but I really didn't know the details. And they're like, "Well, most people are Republicans." Of course, living in a red state, that's what they're gonna say.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Cool, do that." 2 years later, I was like, "This is dumb. I'm independent."
Yeah, but yeah, Bernie can kind of retire as this almost like mythic figure at this point.
Yeah, like
who's responsible for the new left in the United States, like completely reinvigorating it. So many young people, so many Gen Zers and stuff, so many millennials have been inspired.
There's even a good amount of older folk. That
Gen Xers maybe, who have been inspired by Bernie Sanders. So
I know I convinced a good friend of mine, and she's older, kids and all that, and like after I talked her through like Joe Biden's 50-year political history, they're like, "Oh God, what
So someone said something really funny. I forget who it was, but they were like, "The only silver lining is that now I don't have to be disappointed by a Bernie Sanders presidency."
Yeah.
And yeah, he gets to kind of die as this sort of arbiter,
Yeah, like this, like
like
just this trigger, this
yeah. If this movement gains steam, and there becomes a new left in the United States, as I think will happen once these fucking boomers die off, I think Bernie Sanders will be remembered as one of the pivotal
I think it'll
figures
happen
in it
before they die off, and it's gonna be I think it's gonna be an explosion of this basically what happened in the last primary. Like you're gonna have all these old boomers what comes before Gen Xers, right? What I came after boomers, Xers. Yeah. You're gonna have these older folk that are so deeply ingrained into the team spirit aspect of politics.
They're going to be Dems no matter what.
No matter what. And then you're going to have this conflict between them and the new left, as you say, who are hypercritical of their own party, which again, like I said, if it wasn't the last one, it was one before, I said one of the biggest missed opportunities was the Democratic Party could have proved they were better than them just by utilizing a little bit of self-inflection. And what I mean by that is better than Republicans. Instead of saying, this is the Dem, this is who I want, that's who I'm voting for, period. Regardless of history. And they missed that opportunity to literally show they were better, and they didn't. But anyways.
But man, there could have been some transformative stuff though.
There could have been, but I think this will be the defining trait of sorry, I'm going to finish the statement real quick. I think this will be the defining trait of electoral politics for at least 2 to 3 to 4 cycles. Will be this old guard versus the new left. I mean, so
I don't know what's going to happen.
Going into Charles Booker, if it keeps steam, this is the thing.
Yeah.
If it keeps steam, going into Booker,
was a blow, man.
That sucked. There's still there's still 2 good options.
Yeah.
Shahid Buttar, number 1, is one, and
but that's taking on like Nancy Pelosi, like the Speaker of the House, like this. That is sort of a fight for the direction that the Democratic Party is going to go in.
Will take.
Like I think if he wins,
the question is though, is the party going to operate like a Hydra? Like if you remove Nancy Pelosi, like is somebody else equally as ingrained into the establishment just going to take over?
It doesn't matter, man. You just got to get her out of there.
That's fair.
I
agree.
We'll deal with those as we get them.
That's also a very good point. Utilizing this predictive. This is the danger sometimes in predictive statements. Like you always have to be sort of aware of these things. Like using that line of logic, it could very easily dissuade somebody from running. But let me say this: if you're a progressive of any kind and you have the remote interest in politics, run. Like you don't need, and I
just change the conversation.
You don't need party support to do whatever you want to do. If you force them to come to you, or at least force them to acknowledge you, that's a victory.
Yeah.
Because I've been in that situation with many anecdotes of people who are like, you forced all these candidates to come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what we need more of, is people who are forcing the conversation. Because guess what? Medicare for all is probably one of my number one issues. Because I have a condition I would love to get fixed and don't like spending $200 to go visit the doctor.
Yeah.
That's 200 McChickens.
Yeah. They brought back the spicy McChicken too.
Yes, they did. Yeah. Hell yeah. Unfortunately, I'm addicted to double quarter pounders. But anyways.
Spicy McChicken all the way. But
But
we need as many people.
Yeah, at every level. I mean, if you can afford it, because one of the biggest barriers of entry is just income. Most progressives, unfortunately, are working class people. Most independent who lean left are working class people.
Yeah.
Just get
and
out.
They don't
and do
have the big money
right.
on
And you
their
don't
side
really
that the
need
right
it.
does.
You don't really need it. The power of the internet is something if you can just generate your base. And one of the biggest things that people are looking for is authenticity. And if you throw that out there, people will naturally gravitate towards you.
Yeah. Yeah. Get your friends, go to the local film department in your college, man, or
make a
like
movie.
rent some cameras, make some ads, upload them to YouTube. Like work together to do this, man. But
something I've dabbled in that I want to attempt someday as we grow this podcast and this movement. Mm-hmm. Or I'm grateful to I think I can really feel like this podcast, aside from all the hilarity and the dumb things we've encountered, is like a part of the movement.
I hope so, in some small aspect.
Even if
we've had discussions with people.
And we will return to having guests in the future, for sure. But like one of the things I've dabbled in is like looking into like public access, like just get out there, spread your message.
Oh, that's why I called that radio show every day.
It, yeah.
Because it doesn't matter whether or not they agree with you then and there. Once ideas start becoming in the zeitgeist, you can. Once it gets into their heads, like
to utilize the same logic, like it isn't enough just to be not racist anymore. It's to actively combat racism. It's not enough to be just anti-Republican anymore. It's actively combating conservatism.
Did you see that when Joe Jorgensen posted that? How many libertarians were like, "Oh, I didn't know I was voting for a Marxist."
Yeah, I want my $40 back and stuff like that. Like
communist. And it's like, yeah.
The Jorgensen memes have been spectacular.
Turns out that fucking libertarians are just racists who like weed. Go figure. Who would have guessed?
Yeah. No, it... Oh, let's go back to Jorgensen's website. Let's pull this up.
I'm done.
Let's not rehash this.
I'm done with her.
Okay.
I'm done with libertarians, man.
They are... godless. No.
Domination by corporations is not any different than domination from the state. You're not an actual libertarian because you support oppression, just private oppression, which has the potential to be worse, because at least domination by the government in the form of a democracy, you at least have a say in how that operates.
I do personally think it's not long from now until we see a headline in the newspaper where it's Amazon hires private security firm to guard sites.
Oh yeah. Especially if this defund the police thing actually picks up steam, because honestly, the reason the police are so well funded is because they're the only public utility that the rich rely on.
Did you ever see? I shared this post, and it's gotten buried in all the horrible headlines that have happened. But I shared a post that showed it was a breakdown of major corporations and how they funnel money into police foundations.
Yeah.
That's to the audience, talking to the audience, you can look it up. There's a report issued. I don't remember who made it, where they broke down how major corporations funnel money into police foundations to fund police activity. Police crime. They don't reduce crime.
No, police fucking protect private interests. That's it.
Correct.
Point blank.
And remember, like, there was a meme going around where the police use security footage to track somebody's t-shirt to Etsy, and they only sold one Etsy shirt, and then they figured out who it was based on that.
Yeah.
It's actually the same thing they used in Don't Fuck with Cats. They followed the blanket. Did you ever see that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, one of the ways they tracked one of these leads they had was they seen a blanket in the background of one of these horrible videos, and they reversed imaged it, found it on eBay, found out it came from a place in El Dorado, Kansas, which actually not too far from here. And then they're like, they sent that info to the Canadian police. They're like, hey, one person in Canada bought this from whatever.
Yeah.
But
hey, talking about that shit though, we think about this Wayfair sex trafficking thing. Have you heard about it?
I've heard. Is that have to do with like the house in Minneapolis?
No.
Okay.
Have you really not heard about this?
Maybe not.
So there's a site, Wayfair, that sells things, right?
Right.
Online. So they were selling cabinets for $10,000, and they had the names of missing children on them. Right?
Oh wow.
So it became this big, because they sell those same cabinets for like $100. The same, like, this is a shower curtain for $10,000. Same one for $100, but this one has this name in front of it. That's the last name of a missing child. So it became this big conspiracy. Have you really not heard about this?
I haven't, but
man,
there's that right there.
Well, yeah, but like, that's part of the ops, man.
I could definitely see that happening.
But no, because they're all different.
Right.
Like, they all have different names of different missing children. And they're all like different price. Like, the ones that don't have names in front of them, they sell for like $100. The ones that do have a name in front of them, they sell for $10,000 for like a shitty pillow or a shower curtain.
Is it? Is it?
Oh, dude, check it out. Like, yeah,
wow.
this is real shit, bro.
I haven't seen it.
I'm not gonna be here.
Why do we
pushing
keep coming
for
back to
pushing for conspiracy theories? But it is interesting. It's definitely weird, and they've taken them all down since then. They've taken all the listings down. But it's, some of them have unique enough names that it doesn't seem to be a coincidence. But also, Wayfair has been under fire recently because they were supplying beds to the ICE detention centers, and the ICE detention centers have been losing children.
I actually wanted to bring that up in the course of this conversation.
Yeah, they've been losing,
because I do think that they're actively engaging in child trafficking.
Oh, for sure. But like, it's pretty weird. Right? It's creepy. The only argument I can think of is that it's so overt that I can't imagine that they're doing it through that, but also just like as like creating a paper trail maybe of just like, where did this $10,000 go?
So
I bought these curtains on Wayfair.
There's that. It could be this too. Have you ever heard of like when drug traffickers traffic drugs into the United States, like how there's this thing where they allow one person or one shipment to be captured in order to hide the other things going on? Like, could
so
that
you think
be
they're front, like,
yeah, like,
oh, we'll be really overt here,
so people
so that
look
when they catch us,
like, did you see the Minneapolis thing?
I have not. No.
So this woman reported her daughter missing in Minneapolis.
Okay.
This is an interesting one that'll probably freak you out more. And so she had access to the Track My iPhone app.
Yeah.
And she tracked it to a house. I'm gonna try to find the articles here. Oh well, I'm probably gonna get flagged for looking this shit up. But so they.
You're using my internet, so
okay,
they'll track it here.
Okay, so anyway, so this woman used the Track My iPhone, and she tracked it to a house, and she's like, "Hey, my daughter's phone is in this house." So she called the police, and they refused to respond. And then she told, at some point in time, some protesters got a hold of the information, so they went and set the house on fire. And there was nobody inside. But within minutes, the police were there and had the whole area locked down and secured. Mm-hmm. And like, there's now a theory that the police are actively protecting traffickers.
Yeah.
Which could be, there could be some validation to that, because like, I know that area, like, they had a big deal with Craigslist years ago because people were using Craigslist to post ads to traffic kids between places and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
But like that Wayfair shit is pretty. I don't know. It's pretty convincing, man. I'm not big into conspiracies, but like some of the names were really unique names of
Yeah.
missing children, where it's like sometimes I can't find my name when I go to like a travel store, like a gas station or something
Mhm.
that's got those little license plates. But like these are personalized curtains that had names like Amalaya and stuff like that on it, you know?
Yeah.
Like real unique shit for 10 grand to buy a shower curtain or to buy a cabinet, you know? Like I don't know. It's sketchy. But yeah, 14,000 kids in the ICE detention centers have said that they've been sexually assaulted by ICE, you know? And then 14,000 of them, yeah.
Yep.
And then there's all of these ones that they're missing.
That are
They're just
missing.
gone. So like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me for a second that ICE would be involved in some shit like this.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Not one bit.
No, not at all.
Abolish ICE.
But yeah, go back to like what's her name, Maxwell, though. How she said that she has the names of all of these. Like,
Oh,
she
yeah.
says she has videos.
She's on suicide watch.
She says she's got videos of these politicians, bro.
I believe it.
Well, but also, she's got contingencies though. She's got dead man levers where, like, if she turns up dead, these videos just get released. Supposedly, I don't know. I've heard that from one person. I haven't looked it up.
I'm trying to find this article that was describing.
But yeah, if she turns up dead though, this information is just going to get released.
Oh, I'm sorry, Milwaukee, not Minneapolis.
Okay, Milwaukee.
Yeah, I apologize, but I shared some of this here. So yeah, two teenage girls missing. I'm gonna do a quick rundown of this. Is Milwaukee in Minnesota?
Wisconsin.
Okay, close. Same thing. Yeah, let's see here. So they. I'm going
That's
to
where my favorite YouTubers are from.
And a house that a crowd believed to be connected to their disappearance has been burned. Right, they set fire to it because, yeah, it took the police forever. And then people ran away in vans, and the police let them go.
Ran away from the house?
Yeah, because when they tried to break into the house, because the protesters were trying to, open the doors.
Yeah, free the kid.
And the kids were in there. The incident captured on live stream video happened shortly after Nitty, who was the step between two groups, saying, "I'm trying to de-escalate." Tear gas was thrown at the crowd. The police were quoted chilling and 10 feet away trying to shoot people. And then they drove the armor and the tanks and whatnot to block the group. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Not cool.
Well, you know what I mean.
Not cool.
Not cool at all.
Sketchy.
Police missing girls were never at Milwaukee home, sure, even though they
I don't know, man. This stuff is nuts, bro.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to
perpetuate. This is a very scary.
conspiracy theories.
This is a very rough rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, but I mean, it's gonna be.
It's gonna get more.
It's so much more.
It's gonna be more perverse and more overt, and
yeah, it's. Oof, and then. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's not poor people buying kids.
no.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sex traffickers are, by definition, high-powered and wealthy people, because it's not cheap to buy a fucking person. You know?
I once read an article that was like a psychological breakdown of billionaires and rich people, and this is how we can end this little bit on. Where basically, like, the more money somebody gets, like, the more disassociated they become with reality. And at a certain point of money, in this instance, the author of the article used billionaires. Once you reach $1 billion regularly, like, you're like the type of person that makes $1 billion a year.
Mm-hmm.
You become so, like, your life literally becomes managing your fortune.
Yeah.
And thus, it becomes the situation where you no longer have anything to buy. Like, there's no more struggle. Like, you have everything.
Yeah.
And you can use that to explain a lot of behavior for a lot of billionaires. Some want to build rockets to Mars. But nothing.
Some show up on the flight books to Epstein's Island.
Most. And the point here I'm trying to make is like they become disassociated, like from a human perspective. Like they're just like they become this new identity of I'm only my fortune. Like that is my defining trait is I'm now billionaire XXX or whatever.
Yeah.
And so then at that point he goes on to describe, he's like, at that point the only things you have left to buy are influence and terrible things, and that falls under that other category because it's like there's nothing you can't get, there's no piece of merchandise you can't find, and thus you seek out the new thrills, and it's awful.
Yeah, it's just
Ooh.
yeah, but I guess we could wait till the break to get back to this, but this sex trafficking shit it's scary stuff, man.
It really is.
It's scary stuff, but it's also just like so pervasive
It's
that
a
it's
lot
just
of it is
it's all happening. It's almost like dark matter. Like it all exists, but like outside of the realms of like normal people who are just going to work every day.
Yeah.
Like these are things that are going on beyond what we even can like. I wouldn't even know where to start if I wanted to like get in touch with one of these people. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's a whole universe that exists outside of our view.
Right on the second.
Yeah.
Deep shit today. Fuck.
But no, dude. Like
No, I'm with you on
we've
that.
had
like,
with when we had Courtney on and she talked about this stuff.
yeah.
About just that person who followed a couple. She was from the East Coast, went out to Kansas City, like because they told her that they were going to get her a job and all of this and that.
Yeah.
She gets here, and they immediately start selling her out,
Mm-hmm.
and then they end up taking her here to a smaller town because they said she can get 5 times as much money here.
Yeah.
But we live here, bro.
Yeah. I wouldn't know. Like, I'm with
But-
you on that. Like, I wouldn't know. Like,
But
no,
there, dude,
number
there's
one,
some
I'm not a
old
fucking pervert. and
There's
start
some
there.
old money out here, though, man. Like
Yeah.
in this town, like.
Well, this town used to be defined by you're either rich or you're not.
But it's like
Well, it still is.
it's crazy to think about, though. You know,
Right.
just that shit happens here, bro. Like there are people here in this town that are engaging in sex trafficking.
The thing too that is also disturbing is like it could be anywhere. Like this isn't a big city by any means, and like it could be 20 minutes down the road. I don't know if you ever visit truck stops, and I can save this point if you want, but they often have signs up like truckers against human trafficking, TAF or whatever. They have signs up, and like they have some resources where you can like check into that stuff so that you can report it if you find it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder, like I'll see like people walking around and I'll be like, I wonder, like, is that person okay? But then you like I don't know, it's like so like is it almost not socially acceptable to ask?
Yeah.
Kind of like you don't want to be like falsely accuse somebody of something and like put yourself in a situation you don't need to be in, I guess.
It's crazy though, in this age of just information and everybody having cameras. Like, how does this stuff happen where people don't see it? You know, like
Ignorance.
But no, I mean just like
like
actual like an actual transaction of like selling a human being to somebody else.
Well, there's no.
'Cause I don't imagine that
think
they go willingly.
There's
like if I
no-
was kidnapped, I'd be screaming and thrashing, and anytime they tried to get me somewhere, I'd be like, I'd make it as fucking inconvenient for them as possible.
Well, a lot of it, like, I mean, if you really, I guess, I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. They drug them, they gag them, they do all kind of shit.
Break them down. I think if that's a big one, they break them down and like make them forget their names, and I don't know. You can do a lot of psychological torment to somebody in captivity.
God,
I'm sure
fucking,
it is awful. I'm sure all these fucking perverts and weirdos have all kinds of fucking.
I really hope something comes of this fucking Maxwell shit.
I do too.
And it's like, but and this. Maybe we could wait for the stream.
Well, let's wait for the stream because there's actually a very important point I want to bring up that can go along with this.
I'm gonna take a leak again.
All right.
If you wanted to hold on to that.
Oh,
Hold
it
on to
just
that
popped
thought.
up. It just popped up.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, you're good though. I'll get it set up.
I got a small bladder, man. I pee a lot.
I'll be there soon. I'm manning the computer.
Oh, you guys think this it?
Almost, not quite. box fill. Oh man, being hunched over like this, not pleasant for the back.
Talking a lot about sex trafficking. We're gonna get flagged for sure.
Probably. Well, you know, it's one of those ones like you can't like it's a legitimate problem, and it doesn't pay dividends to be ignorant about it.
Yeah.
Because you never know. Maybe with somebody eyeballing the stream will be like, you know what, I saw something crazy, and they'll report it someday, and then
Hopefully.
this might save a life or 3.
But we're recording.
Boom.
And we're back.
Cool. So what I was going to bring up prior to that was the big one was like, did you see the Catholic Church got $1.7 billion in
Oh, I did see that.
payroll money?
Oh, yeah, on the vein of sex trafficking,
Yeah,
right?
correct. Like it brought that up to me talking about that, and I was flabbergasted, to say the least. I was like, what?
But hey, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record here. But if you got rid of capitalism, there wouldn't be sex trafficking.
Yeah, eliminate the market.
Yeah, but there wouldn't be like what would you buy you couldn't buy a person
Yeah.
because there wouldn't be fucking money.
What did I?
Oh, but look at that. Like
At
but I
least-
mean, like tell me that that's not right though.
I mean, it's not, or it is. Like, you're not wrong, is what I meant to say.
like how would you because I was discussing this on that radio show I called into. They just did not grasp
do
the
you
concept.
think, well, you're asking a lot of old people. Do you think like a lot of these things, like terrible things, happen like because like they're hidden like almost beneath the layers and the veil of like the modern burdens that we suffer? Like people who are like we've so coveted this isolationist culture, especially like in our labor markets, where it's like me before all else, and like then there's so at the top of this hierarchy of awareness, you have yourself. And then you have like, oh wait, gotta feed myself, feed my family, pay bills.
Yes.
And then you work your way down. And because all these things exist, these barriers of awareness, like, do you think that hides like these things from people?
100%, 1,000,000%. There's a reason. So in the 70s, economists had projected that we would have 20-hour work weeks by now, given automation and technology and things like
Should.
that. There is a reason that we are tired all the time. There's a reason that we are struggling financially all the time. We are constantly high stress, high anxiety. Like there's a reason we're all drugged up and medicated. We all have depression. We all have anxiety, you know, but these are all ways to obfuscate the conditions around us when we don't have enough time, money, or energy to think about anything else other than our immediate survival. You know, like the Maslow's pyramid of human hierarchy of human needs. You know, like we're so focused on just the bottom one that we're not capable of like self-actualization.
Mm-hmm.
It's all done. It's all intentional. It's all intentional. You know.
Yeah.
My friend's mom, she's a immigrant from Mexico. And she cleans houses.
Yes.
And she works hard. Like she works like 12-hour days cleaning houses for people, right? And, you know, me and my buddy were, you know, high school kids, and we were just kind of talking about like different concepts and ideas and things like that. And she just looked at us and she said, "Philosophy is for people who don't have to work." And I've thought about that forever. It's like, no, that's for sure it.
Yeah.
So many people are so concerned with their own survival that they don't have time to contemplate other things.
Like, yeah. Well, like, okay, so this will play into a couple different things. The points I feel like I should make here. Like, like I was talking to somebody about UBI, universal income.
Yeah.
And they immediately said, and this is relevant to all the happenings today too, they immediately said, well, all the lazy people will stop working. And I said, have you ever thought about why you conflate our identity with our labor? And she's like, what do you mean? Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, think about it. Like, when you work a job and it's 40, 50, 60 hours a week, like that becomes your identity. People say, like, what do you do? Like, what are you?
Yeah,
like,
that's one of the first questions that you get asked.
I work at a factory.
First date or meeting somebody that's like, well, what do you do?
Like, why do we associate our identities as people with that? It's like, well, like, what do I do? Like, when I exist, that's number one.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
Is that
so, my point here, like I was saying, I was like, what we don't have, this is what Yang talked about. Like, what we don't have is real economic freedom. Like, I don't want to be a, whatever I am, I want to go open my own business, but I can't because these barriers prevent me from doing so. Like, I'm trapped in the.
Yeah. So there's a quote. I don't know who said it. So,
another one,
but it's he said, I am less impressed with the brilliance of Albert Einstein than I am saddened by the thought that with absolute certainty people like him have existed but have lived and died in cotton plants or sweatshops.
This is going to go back to like exactly what you just said right there, like people not giving the opportunity to become what they should have been,
Yeah, their potential's
it's like
limitless.
When I told this guy that I started the podcast with about like, why don't we just make heaven on earth? Why should we worry about the rest? And like that thought was so mind blowing to him. Like he never considered it before.
Yeah.
Cause like, I'm a big like fan of like futurism and technology.
Sure.
The futurism means like working towards like the Star Trek.
I listen to a podcast called Science and Futurism. Actually, it's really good.
Check that out.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Never heard it, but I love those concepts. I was I was super into like CRISPR. I was like, oh man, think of the diseases we could fix.
Do.
Yeah, like that's because being human and being,
but having
taking care of humanity.
But yeah, getting rid of like genetic disorders. Like I dated a girl who had multiple sclerosis. And it was going to like be degenerative as she got older, and she was always super self-conscious about like even stuff like that.
To be super selfish, even fixing psoriasis, like
or asthma.
Yeah, asthma's a good one.
Or
but
like I wear contacts, like I'm blind without them. Like fixing stuff like that.
Yeah, just any of that stuff. But my point here, I don't even remember what I was trying to make because I'm gonna get super into that. We should do a future podcast one day. Anywho. Like think of all the things like we could do, like this statement, this singular phrase, heaven on earth, like that was so mind-blowing. Like he never considered it was even remotely possible. Like in that, like I was like, man, don't you just dream of more? Like
but it's like if a job would stop existing, if people were given like a basic standard of living or a UBI or something, then in my opinion, it wasn't a job that needed to be done. You know? I remember there was a post where somebody was like, honestly, we should only work 4 days a week. Or he said that we should only have 15-hour work weeks, and no job should pay less than $55,000. And the comments were full of just like people being like, "Oh, can you imagine being this lazy?" Like all this and that. And but it's like, and then one comment that stood out to me though was a guy was like, "Does he want a sandwich to cost $40 because that's what would happen in this world?" Where it's just like, you wouldn't really need to go get fast food if you only worked like 3 or 4 hours a day. Like you would have more time to cook for yourself.
You would have
like
the only reason you would buy food would be because you you wanted the service that only X restaurant could provide.
Do you think I go to like look at Subway? They're making sandwiches, bro.
Eat fresh.
Like that's not hard to do. It's just at the end of the day, I'm fucking tired.
Let's be real.
And I don't feel like
here.
I don't feel like cooking and washing dishes, I go to Subway and I pick up a sandwich.
Subway. Yeah. Sandwich shop. Most sandwich shops in general, they're not roasting their own meat loaves to cut into sand. Like they're getting that from a supplier, and there's a good chance that most of that meat that different sandwich shops are using are coming from the same place.
Yeah.
Like here's a good example. I used to make donuts for a local convenience store chain that is pretty prominent in the Midwest that sells donuts, and they're kind of famous for it. Okay, those are frozen donuts that everybody gets them. They're all the same.
I used to work at a pizza plant here that owns 4 4 or 5 different brands
Yeah.
of pizza, but we make them all in the same warehouse. It's all the same shit.
It's all the same cardboard. It's all the same mush.
Yeah, it's funny. This idea that like they're like, oh, you wouldn't have any choice in communism. The choice we have now is aesthetic. Like all food is owned by like 4 or 5 companies that produce everything,
it's a thin veneer
and it's
of choice.
It's all just the different packaging, or it just makes you think you have a different choice.
Do you know?
But if you just got black beans from a can, does it matter if it was this brand or that brand? It's just beans, bro.
Yeah, it's like, talking back to futurism. It's just like, Oh no, I don't want to go back to that. I want to bring another point real quick, and I think I've talked about it here before. But I was having a conversation with a coworker of mine, and I believe every single person in the country is underpaid except for CEOs, and executives, and all that stuff. And I was like, we should make X amount of commission percentage at the minimum. And then I was like, realistically, higher, but that's the minimum barrier of entry to what I would consider fair. And they're like, well, you still make pretty good money right now, right? And I was like, well, I mean, I live. But, it should be higher. And they're like, well, you can't say you wouldn't be happy with this percentage, and it was lower than what I offered. And I was like, oh, no, I would be 100% because it's more than what I'm getting now.
Yeah.
But my point here is I'm glad that you undervalue yourself versus what I value myself as a person. Like, and, like, that was profound. Like, it blew their mind. Like, oh, my God. Like, what did you just say? Like, I don't undervalue myself. It's like, you clearly do. Because I'm sitting here saying that as a person, I'm worth X this amount, and you're saying that that's not true. Like, you're undervaluing yourself.
Yeah. I make a significant amount over minimum wage. But when I think about it, that shit breaks my heart, man. That somebody can spend the majority of their waking hours at a job and get a check that's like $200.
It's not enough.
You know
what? When I got
like
my
that's
first
crazy.
job,
like, what are you doing with your
This is the evolution of a person right here. When I got my first job, I made $6.35 an hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna move into my own place with this check, and I never did, because I spent a lot of it on necessities.
Yeah.
I phrase it. I spent it all on when a pair of shoes cost $200.
But that's the crazy thing about these like elected officials, especially ones that have been there forever, who've been making 6 figures plus like all the lobbying money that they get.
Yeah.
That how could they possibly understand what people like normal people are going through? They couldn't. They're too far removed from it. There's a Louis C.K. joke about that where he was like, poor people know what it's like to be rich. Like of course poor people know because they fantasize about it every day. Like they think about what they would do with that money.
Yeah.
Rich people never think what it's like to be poor.
Louis C.K. had a really good bit that I applied it to like government, and it made government make a whole lot more sense to me. And like I don't remember exactly my thought process on this, so bear with me. But like he made a comment one time in one of his stand-ups where he's like, you don't like me, you like the idea of me. Like if you met me in real life, you think I was an asshole. And like I was just thinking, I was like, so many of those elected officials are that. It's like you don't like me. Like if you knew what I actually did, Joe Biden, if you knew what I actually did, you would hate everything about me. But because I represent this idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know how an ideal government would run. Like I don't think that a representative democracy. I think it's bullshit. I think electoral politics is bullshit. I think the presidency is bullshit. Like I really do.
I always look at it like a tool. Like what does it need to be doing right now to make things better for everyone?
Yeah, but it's like.
But that's obviously such an unachievable ideal. Because you have.
You watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail, right? Do you remember that scene where they like try to get that like one person to cooperate with them, and he explains that we live in an anarcho-syndicalist society, and he's like, "Well, who's your leader?" He's like, "Well, we don't really have a leader. We all take turns as an executive officer,
sort of an executive officer of the week, and every decision of that officer has to be ratified at a biweekly meeting."
Yeah, like, and it was a joke, but it's like, that sounds good to me. Like one person shouldn't be entrenched with power for a long time, especially like the idea of like Supreme Courts being lifetime position, or just courts in general, like the lower courts too. Like all of these judges that Trump has been appointing, that's where the real harm comes in. It's not just the Supreme Court, but he's appointed like a record number of lower court judges too.
1,000
like
plus.
It's crazy, but like they're gonna be bad people.
I read an article not too long ago where he had said that he has done what no other president like has done, and that's fill all of his backlog of court appointments or something.
That's
like
bad.
That. Yeah, that's
That's
horrible.
bad news.
It's 100% horrible because it's like if you believe in the like they always use this argument like I believe in the Constitution, I believe in my personal rights. It's like if you believe that, you would be 1,000% against that.
Yeah.
Because it's like that stand-up bit I told you before about with I think it's Steve Hofstetter, where he's like you can't claim you're for the Constitution if you don't know what all the amendments are.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's the 7th Amendment? He says you can't go to jail for a debt over $10. Is that what it really means? You don't fucking know.
Yeah, but it's also to think of like just like Kavanaugh, man. Like the guy sucks. Like he's like a rapist.
Well, I mean, we have very, very, very detailed proof that he lied to Congress, which is an impeachable offense.
But he's like a relatively young guy. He's like 50.
Yeah.
He's going to be a Supreme Court justice the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That sucks.
See, that's where like the haziness of laws come into play too, because it's like if you pass a law and then they're like, well, this goes against my politics, this is not real, but then like it gets away from the fact that like you guys are there to be the arbiters, like and determine like does this fall within the realm of power of the Constitution, like it, you know, GOP, what does that stand for?
Grand Old Party.
Well, Grand Old Party, yes, but like they have a modern connotation where it's like G something oppression and projection. Yeah.
Like a clever,
clever burn. But projection, you know, they're always like, oh, these liberals will come here. They want to put up their activist judges. Well, that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
100%.
Like Obama didn't even fill his
no.
Supreme, like
he picked one that was arguably a conservative person, and then the second one he just let go.
But at this point, like a centrist is better than a fascist, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing about Joe Biden is that like I don't expect Joe Biden to appoint any progressives.
No.
At all. But would I take him over Donald Trump appointing a fascist? Of course I would.
Yeah. See, like I made this back in my political dealing days. I made this mistake because like somebody asked me a question one time. They said, if you were elected to this position, how would you get the Republicans to work with you? And my answer was not good enough in my opinion looking back, but it was something along the lines of like, well, they would have to work with me, otherwise they don't have a choice. Like, but then like and it was based in this idea like, yeah, we can get things done, we can make these concessions. And I've come to realize that that's not true. Like making these concessions is what damages the movement and what damages what you really want.
No,
like that's a mistake to think that, because I think I know I brought it up in an episode months ago where I was like, you know, what is a good conservative idea? And then you were like, there are none.
There are none.
Yeah.
No,
and
it's
I was
an evil
like,
ideology.
yeah, it made perfect sense to me there because I was like, oh shit, you're right. Like, why would I make any concessions to that?
No, and it goes back to our last stream where we were talking about like right wing populism. It doesn't exist. There isn't one. It's a farce.
It's a lie. It's a living lie.
Yeah,
it's
and
living embodiment of nothing.
And I've been watching different sort of lefty YouTubers that I subscribe to who were talking about the same thing. And yeah, they were discussing it where it's like, yeah, that's just fascism. like some of the ones I liked were like Kyle Kalinske was on the side of the hill. But then other ones I was watching were like, yeah, no, that's like, cause Kyle's explanation was like, you know, they might be in favor of sort of like economic policies, like, you know, trade agreements and things like that. And like for workers' rights and for, you know, socialized healthcare and things like that. So you're talking about like, but like against, you know, LGBT rights or immigration rights and things like that. Well, you just described fascism. You just described Nazism, because the Nazis did have public works and things like that.
Yeah.
It was, you know, they did some things that were good for like citizens.
Well, it was all
part
rooted...
of the, but of course certain people were excluded from these things.
Yeah.
That's what fascism is.
It was all based in this idea, and Donald, we can break this down for a few minutes here. You know, it was all based in this idea like the German working class people were permanently harmed by the Allied powers or whatever they were called in World War I.
Yeah.
And, you know, and we can bring all these manufacturing things home, and we can do these public grandois, public projects, and support the German people.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know.
But that's where right-wing fucking fascism comes in, though.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because those things that they would be fighting for, those would not include minorities. Those would not include immigrants. Those wouldn't include, just like how the stimulus check didn't go to people who are married to immigrants.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they'll be all in favor of like universal health care, but not for the undesirables, not for the people they don't like. That's just fascism.
Yeah.
And here's the problem about like capitulating to the Republicans is that when this happens, the Republicans continue to just elect more and more horrible people every single time, just worse and worse people. And the Democrats, who are the lesser of two evils, are just the Republican Party from a couple cycles ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like Joe Biden is better than Trump, like of course, but is he better than Romney? Is he better than McCain?
Did you post that?
I did.
Okay, I thought I had read this somewhere.
Is he though? Is he better than Romney? Is he better than McCain? Like Romney's out there marching with BLM with a mask on.
Romney just did something else too that he broke away from his party on too. I can't recall what it was.
But tell me, like, is Joe Biden better than Romney? Like, no. I don't think there's an argument to be made. Is he better than McCain? Like, I don't know if there's an argument to be made for that. So what's going to happen in 8 years? The fucking Republicans are going to nominate a serial killer who's got swastikas tattooed on his neck, and the Democrats are going to nominate Ivanka Trump. I'm going to put this on the stream right here because I honestly don't think I'm off base with that. The Democrats will run Ivanka Trump. I guarantee, I promise you that that's going to happen.
Bold prediction, and as a gambling man, I would take those odds.
It's going to happen. Ivanka Trump is going to run as a Democrat in 8 years.
It's gonna be Ivanka Trump versus like Barron Trump or some shit.
It's gonna be like Ivanka Trump versus Don Jr. versus Richard Spencer, versus
Alex Jones.
Versus Alex Jones. That's what it's gonna be.
And to quote late '90s philosopher Cypress Hill, as they said in their famous hit "Rock Superstar," let me find it real quick, where he talks about how every star comes and goes only to be replaced by somebody crazier.
Mm-hmm.
Like right here, to the next superstar with no shame, and they'll be right out of the game, same as the last one who came before him. Like, it's like they're just gonna go crazier and crazier.
But that's what happens when you capitulate to the right. The Overton window gets dragged more right. So you have like the Republicans who are just going to be insane far right lunatics, and then you'll have the Democratic Party who's chasing the moderate Republican that doesn't exist, and then they go like, oh, see, like we're gonna chase after them, and then they're gonna agree on the middle. But the Democrats started on the right, and the Republicans are far right. So when they agree on the middle, they're still to the right. And then it's going to happen every single time.
And this is just a friendly reminder to everybody, too. The Republicans, and especially Trump voters, agree that Medicare for all is the solution. Like, just like from like a policy standpoint. So like, it just doesn't make any sense. So like, you have to decide what it is you actually want.
But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump did Medicare for all.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did it before Biden. He'll
do what he can to win.
Yeah, he's so much in favor of power grabs. And honestly, all these like Trump supporters that hated Medicare for all under Bernie Sanders would absolutely flip easily if Trump said it. They would do anything that guy said.
True.
But yeah, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility for Trump to pass socialist programs, and then we'll have a national socialist. Weird. How that would
Remember, I still stand by my theory that Donald Trump's initial reactions to COVID and a lot of the policies they tried to ram through, including the stimulus check, all of that was done in response to Joe Biden's nomination, in an attempt to differentiate himself from Joe Biden.
You think so?
Yeah, because he can't run that program because Bernie came out and was like, "Yeah, UBI $2,000." Like, you can't run those programs into Bernie because Bernie was like, yeah, that's my plan. Yeah. This is why I'm right.
Yeah.
Joe Biden's like, I don't want Medicare for all.
No. And I think he's too dug in to even, like, acknowledge that it's obviously the superior idea.
And I use that one, guys, just because it's like, it's the one people most know, and it's like the best example of what we're trying to make a point of
especially here. Because there is no argument against Medicare for all. There just isn't. There isn't one because by most accounts, it's cheaper than what we're currently spending on healthcare, especially when you consider the fact that like private healthcare has to pay for, employees, advertisements, administrations. But not only that, but they are getting billions in profits, which is not money that goes to treatment. That's money that they've made extra. So
to not do their job.
Yeah, when you consider that, that there's profits being made, there's no argument for private health insurance. There isn't. It leaves a lot of people who don't get treated, who die because of preventable illnesses because of it. It's such a non-starter of an argument. The only reason that Joe Biden supports it is because he gets money from lobbyists. But there's no humanitarian argument for private insurance, and that's the only argument that really matters. I don't care about anything. I don't care about any other argument. Humanitarian arguments are the only arguments.
It comes down to one question and one question at all. Do you believe we can create a heaven on earth or not?
Yes. The only barrier is price. When you consider we have enough resources to feed twice our current population of the planet, and every day we don't do it because it's too expensive
because of our crappy food to person pipeline system. They have to dump 10,000 tons of potatoes into the ground.
Yeah, but it's all because of price. It's all because of there's no profit to be made in feeding the poor. There's no money to be made doing that. And
as George Bush famously said, there's no profit in taking care of the poor.
Did he say that?
Something like that.
What the fuck?
Pretty sure.
But that's such a mask off thing to say, of course. But yeah, the UN projected that it would only cost $9 billion to stop world hunger.
Look at Finland, who I'm massive fans of in homelessness. They saw a problem and they were just like, boom.
Yeah. But think about like Jeff Bezos has $140 million.
Yes.
Or that's his net worth. And I'm not naive enough to think that means he has $150 billion cash in hand. But to think that he has $9 billion in liquid assets, I don't think that's unreasonable to think. So he could solve world hunger if he wanted to, and it wouldn't even be that much of his money,
Yeah.
When you think about it, who's the richest woman in the world?
Ooh.
It's Jeff Bezos' ex-wife.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
That's all she did. That's all she did was divorce Jeff Bezos and became the richest woman in the world, and he didn't even feel it. He's still the richest man in the world. Like, that's how much money they got.
Yeah, I forgot that she divorced him. Yeah, because her net worth was $67 billion after divorcing him.
Yeah, but look at that.
And he's already recovered it all, plus more.
Yeah, so you could stop world hunger, and he doesn't do it.
I saw a tweet or a
like,
post
what do you think about, though?
The other day that just the richest 10 Americans could solve world hunger 10 times over if they really wanted to.
Yeah. When you think about it, when you ask somebody, like, if a genie granted you 3 wishes, like, one of them is always either world peace or solving world hunger, Like, most people are good people who would do that. He has the ability and just doesn't do it.
Let's see here. All right. I think that's a good stopping point.
Sure.
All right. It was a good one tonight, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
I feel like they definitely pick up towards the end.
They always do. Well, it takes us time because we start on a few random ideas and then it coalesces into a.
Yeah, I hope we don't lose viewers in the first half. I hope they stick around because it definitely gets better towards the end.
Yeah, and as always, these will be available in audio format with or without technical difficulties. It's always a good one, Yeah. Share it, tell your friends. Even if you hate it, share it with your friends.
Share it with your friends so you can laugh at the dumb libs.
Yeah, own the libs. Own the libs by listening to the podcast.
All right,
All right, have a good night, guys.
All right, see ya.